1, 2, 3, 4.
All right, we're back. Another edition of Country and Cold Cans after quite the hiatus, but the show must go on. I am Logan, sitting here with Trucker Andy. Be sure to give us 5 stars and a great review on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Link in the description to leave us a voicemail. We'd love to hear from you. And today's episode is brought to you by Carolina Can, the brand made for folks who know there's nothing better than a fall Saturday in the South. From pocket tees to vintage style hats, Carolina Can is all about keeping things comfortable, classic, and just the right amount of bold. If your ideal weekend includes tailgates, tall boys, touchdowns, then there's something for you. Check out carolinacan.shop. Tailgate tested, game day approved. All right, Andy. This is our first song roundup we've done in a while. We released our Mikkel Buck interview that we did back in March, just about a month or two ago, but we're trying to get back on a regular schedule here. Good to be back in the saddle. So Andy was busy talking in his truck.
Yeah, my wife's here. She was asking me questions about TV show. Good show. It's called The Lowdown. I've seen one episode. I like it so far.
You said
Based
Ethan
off of
Hawke
one
stars in
episode.
it, right?
Yeah, I don't know who that guy is, but apparently he's famous.
No, he's pretty famous. I'm not super familiar with a ton of his stuff, but I've seen him in things before. I know the name too. But yeah, Kyle will be back at some point. He's not here this week. I'm gonna save the a bomb I was gonna drop on him, if you will, for when he's here on the air. But we'll table that one for the next episode.
Stay tuned.
Let's jump right back into 6-pack song roundup we have this week. We'll kick things off with a very familiar artist that we have been listening to for a long, long time. But for those who may be first time listening, once in a while we will do a 6-pack song roundup of usually new releases. But this time it's been so long since we've recorded, they're new to us from the last time we recorded, where we give review, critiques, and just our overall thoughts on a particular set of songs that have been released. This first one, like I said, is a guy that we have been listening to for a very long time. He's gotten quite popular these days, but none other than Koe Wetzel, a new single from an upcoming project called Surrounded.
Can't think 'cause my hair's so cloudy. And every morning and every night is all alone, but the moon feels crowded. I should've took all the memories you left 'cause I'm drunk and I can't be around it. Hands up, you got this house surrounded, and there ain't nothing I can do about it.
All right, Andy. Jumping back in with a very familiar face for us. So this song is a song about sitting there. Your ex has left you, and she has not just left you. She has packed up and just left everything she owns, it seems like, from physical stuff to also the memories that from the relationship behind. And the narrator of the song, in this instance, Koe Wetzel, is sitting there looking at every single thing from the dress sitting over on the side to just the memories they've had, and it is tearing him apart. I think this song is a little bit more of a return to, not exactly, but a little bit more of a return to more similar 2017 to like 2020 era Koe Wetzel in terms of sound.
Yeah, for sure. I agree with that completely. This sounds, I can't place it, but it's like the tempo and pacing of the chorus and part of the second verse. It sounds like there's like I think it's a 2000s rock song that's got the same pacing and tempo, but I cannot remember what it is. And I feel like that pacing of it kind of brings it back to like the Noise Complaint time period.
Yeah. I have the exact same thoughts. I thought that from the very first time I heard that when this released back 2 months ago now, that it took me back to early career Koe Wetzel, which, to your point, was very influenced by like 90s and early 2000s rock. And I think the best lines in this are leading right into the chorus and the after the first verse and going out into the second verse, where he's like, "You're everywhere I turn in this godforsaken place. Yeah, maybe I deserve to feel a little more pain." That offers a little bit of layering to me, a little bit of depth of it's just not, hey, it's not like you left me cold and alone and it's all her fault. He's like acknowledging, even if it's implicitly, might have a little bit to do with it being his fault, with him saying he deserves a little more pain. And then going into the next one, he said, got my whole damn world locked down. It's a prison in my mind and there ain't no breaking out. And then goes back into the chorus again. It just kind of talks about him acknowledging with a little bit of self-awareness that he may have played a part into some of it, but at the same time, she left everything. The memories are still there, and he's just surrounded by everything. He's drunk and he can't stand to deal with it. He's in his own personal hell, if you will.
Way too conspiratorial and definitely not a thing. But the like, speaking of like the throwing it back to the old Koe Wetzel, like hands up, we got the house surrounded, out on parole.
Yeah. Also, there's a mention of wine in the first line of the song. You remember wine glass back in the day?
Yeah, definitely not a thing.
Yeah,
There's no way
definitely not
that's
intentional
on
at all.
purpose.
But yeah, but if we're putting our tinfoil hats on,
We got a tinfoil suit on with this one.
some a callback for the OG fans like us who have been listening, we're around the same age as Koe. We've been listening to Koe before he got real popular. And we've been going to Koe shows since before the majority of the people at the shows were 8 to 10 years younger than us. Now it's a different experience than it was back in the day.
Where's my chair?
All right, so that's a relatively new one. All of these are relatively new, by the way, from Koe Wetzel. All right, moving right along. Andy, this was your pick this week. A band that, again, been listening to for a long time. About 2 or 3 records ago, they, excuse me, definitely made a shift to a more, I would say, country and decidedly countryer direction. And their early career stuff was a little bit more pop country influenced, but it was still good. But since they've made that shift, their music has just been on fire every single time. Here's another good one from Muscadine Bloodline called My Meridian.
Well, it's safe to say you should have met you sooner. I guess I reckon it was in due time. Skip 25 years that it took me to find you, lady of the Lauderdale County line. My meridian, my sweet meridian, you done a number on the start of mine. My meridian, my sweet meridian, I'm gonna love you till the day I die.
All right, I'll throw it to you first, but before we do that, I will say that this song is we have basically two types of songs that are on this playlist. There's heartbreak kind of sad songs, and then there's kind of a either outright or quasi love songs on this particular 6-pack song roundup. And this is definitely more in the love song category. Andy, I'll let you go first. This was your pick for the week.
This song sounds absolutely spectacular. I love at first second to last second, just spectacular sounding. I feel like the way the song's written, it's fairly open-ended on how you get to your meridian. It can be a lot of things because, like, one to me, I don't know if people from Alabama saying that when you leave Alabama on I-20, as soon as you hit Mississippi, you're in meridian. So it could be like it can almost also be like a leaving to a new thing. Should have done this sooner, found it sooner, and just the open-endedness of it. That you can take your own meaning in multiple ways from the song while it still tells a story.
Yeah, no, I agree. And like one thing they have done particularly well, especially as of late, is like I love their harmonies when they sing together on a lot of their songs. They do it well here. This one a little bit more stripped back in the production, definitely very country leaning. And I will always acknowledge this when I run across it. Here's a love song that doesn't make me want to throw up because it's not overly sappy in a very manufactured corporate Nashville kind of way. And I say that as a guy who doesn't hate Nashville music, but a lot of their love songs are just like, baby, it's a real pop influence. Baby, I can't live without you kind of thing. This is kind of saying the same thing, but in a much smarter and more like easily digestible way to the country fan such as myself. So I was a big fan of this one as well.
And I like how it's called Meridian, and I'm sure it's got to be based off of Meridian, Mississippi.
Yeah, I believe so because there was I want to say that there was the cover art has like a sign.
I think it says Meridian, but it's in the lettering of Mississippi. And also, like, it does the 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi thing, but
Yeah,
it never specifies that it's Meridian, Mississippi.
right. No, yeah, I'm right there with you on that one. All right, next up, here's a band that has gotten very, very popular over the last 6 months to a year, maybe even a little longer than that. They have quickly kind of been rising the ranks for me of newer acts, and their sound is very hard to nail down in the best possible way because it depends on the song. They have some stuff that leans very country, some stuff that is a little more hard charging rock, and some stuff who kind of perfectly blends the two. Um, this is a new one from Old 60 called Really Want to Know.
But you really want to know if I've been going out, sleeping with some stranger I just met. Really want to know if I have found the time to think about you yet. You ain't it all, you've been wondering who's in my arms instead. Well, I really want to know. You really want to know.
So here's another one that's in more of the love song category, even if it's not as overt as My Meridian was. But if you like listen to the lyrics or read the lyrics, you kind of see it. It's just more or less the story of a touring musician being out on the road, kind of like trying to pursue and achieving their dream of just traveling the world and playing music. And then their significant other calls them and just has tons of questions for them. But he's like, can't we just cut to the chase of what you're really asking here? You're not really asking about how am I doing? You're really wanting to know, am I out here cheating on you? Have I thought about you at all? And then as we get to the very end of the song, it talks about if you really want to know about how much I actually, my heart aches for you. I love you. I wouldn't be able to do this without you, kind of thing. That's where like the love aspect of the song comes in. I think it's very smartly written, but very smartly written with a very catchy hook of the song where it's like, I really want to know what you really want to know. Sonically, this is one of their songs that blends country and rock very, very well. It starts very understated for the first half of the song, and then it just kind of builds and crescendos, and it gets a little bit higher in both how loud the song is and in the tempo, and then it finally gets to that main chorus where, it feels like an outright rock song. And when you hear that rock guitar blended with the pedal steel, this was my favorite song of the roundup this week, and I've listened to this song since it came out about a month ago or so much. It keeps popping up in my playlist. I'll seek it out sometimes. It's been in my YouTube algorithm. The more I've listened to it, and I liked it before I even really understood the lyrics. Now that I understand the context of the story from listening to it as much as I have, this is probably one of my favorite songs of theirs, and it is my favorite song on this roundup.
As you were saying, they had like 3 different sounds. This song has 3 different sounds.
Yeah.
It's kind of got all of their sounds put into one song. I like how it builds with the sound. It's in the correct order, and it flows together very well. And I forgot to mention it, but since this is your favorite, My Meridian is my favorite. I've listened to it an unhealthy amount of times.
No, I think you're spot on with that. Like, this kind of blends all of their sounds together in one song. You can almost divide this song up into almost like 3 parts, like you said, about just how quiet it starts, how loud it gets, the rock instrumentation coming in really more full force on the back half of the song. And then I think it's incredibly well written lyrically, just being able to tell that story. That's probably a very relatable, real story for people who've spent a lot of time on the road as a musician, calling back home to their girlfriend or their wife. And there's that little bit of insecurity that humans often have about, are you out there cheating on me? Have you thought about me at all? But it's like, instead of, as sometimes women can do, directly asking the question, they're kind of dancing around it a little bit, and he's like, what are you getting at? I really want to know what you really want to know. So good song altogether. Old 60, Really Want to Know. All right, next up, this is by a relatively newer artist. Song came out 8 days ago. This guy is from, I believe, Queensland, Australia. Wade Forster, and it's a new song that he's released. He's released about 4 singles so far from an upcoming project, and this particular track is called Emily.
If a dollar love was what you wanted to help change your mind. Well, I give up my whole checkbook just to have all of her time. I hope she's well. Wish her all the best since the day she left me. Yeah, I used to hang around Emily.
So, Andy, knowing this guy's from Queensland, why is it that when other countries sing music, they don't sound like British or Australian, but when we sing music, our accent still comes through? That is a conundrum that has bothered me, and I do not understand.
Oh, you're gonna get me off topic because I had a thought the other day. We'll have to put it on the podcast because it doesn't make sense to me. As us as Americans, we're all from originally from other continents.
Yeah.
Why do we all have the same accent? Why has our accent not faded? Is it a blend of them, or mainly because we started out as an English country?
What do you mean
We were
Americans
British.
across the country have the same accent, or just talking about from your particular region? Because we definitely have a lot of different accents in America.
Or more so, all right. So we started out as British.
Yeah.
Why did we not keep our British accent, but
I actually watched
Britain still have it?
I watched a YouTube video on this. I'm not saying this is accurate, but it was very compelling and it made sense. It said, so if you notice, there is actually, and we promise we'll get to Wade Forster's song here in a second, but there is actually a lot of overlap and commonality between British speaking and slang with Southern accents and slang. For instance, Andy, you have definitely heard this. While our generation is more probably apt to say trunk of the car, our parents and grandparents would say the boot of the car. That's an English word. That's a British word. The cart at the shopping cart, we may say shopping cart more often, but the older generation would say the buggy, another British thing. So there's a lot of influence from British culture and slang on the South. And then that video talked about dialects, and it talked about how a British accent is basically, or a Southern accent is basically a British accent slowed down. And why is it that the deeper South, the further inland you got, their accent got slower and more pronounced and thick, is because the further you were away from the port, speaking to people with different accents, is the slower you began to talk and the more like twang you ended up in your voice. So if like you were to speed up our Southern accent, it would sound British, is what the video was positing.
But why didn't the same thing happen to the people in England?
Well, I mean, their accent probably was established a lot longer.
But like, if like for us that had an English accent, because it wasn't that long ago, like 250 years ago.
Sure.
How did we lose it so fast and theirs still sounds exactly the same?
I don't know.
Allegedly,
I mean,
we don't know what they sounded like 250 years ago.
Yeah, that's fair. But I mean, if you even think about generationally, when you listen to someone our grandparents' age talk versus us, like people will tell you and I that, or you and me, that we have a Southern accent. We obviously do. But if you listen to our grandparents' generation who didn't grow up with the internet, who didn't grow up being around lots of different people from other areas with different dialects as much and as often as we have, their accents are much thicker than ours are. Ours have been washed out a little bit. I think that as the future goes on, accents are not going to die out, but they're going to be less pronounced because of the internet and mass like movement across the country and people just being around different people from different regions with different dialects.
Maybe. Because I was in Iowa like a month ago. There was a small Mexican restaurant. There was someone in there from the South. Being in the Midwest, you don't hear it every day like you do in the South. And I'm sitting here like, is that what I sound like? Like that stands out a lot.
More or less, but we're just used to it down here.
Yeah. Okay.
But yeah.
All right. This guy's name is Wade Forster.
Wade Forster. I hope I'm pronouncing
this
that
guy's
right.
name was
Forster.
I thought it was Wade Foster the entire time, and also did not know he was from down under. So Foster's kind of funny because I didn't know that.
Let me fact check myself. I believe Queensland is in Australia.
New Zealand, or is it New Zealand?
Yeah, it's Australia. Queensland, Australia.
Yeah, I don't really know the difference in Australia and New Zealand. I know they're separate things. They're like side by side ish. Yeah, I don't know how the whole thing works.
Well, Australia is like its own continent. It's a big island.
What continent's New Zealand?
I don't know.
But I had no idea this guy. I thought this guy was from America.
Well,
whole time.
Because so diving into the song for a little bit, this song fits right at home with Texas country sonically. Like I loved everything about this song. I know you and I have a slight disagreement probably about we talked about his vocal on the track, but I loved the vocal. I thought it meshed perfectly well with the production. It's definitely a more country roots leaning song that fits right at home on Texas radio in my mind. And his voice, the reason I liked it on this track, it has a timeless kind of uh, old school quality to it. In the same way, I would compare it to maybe I think the guy's name is Mark Weistrich from Midland. In the same way that he sounds like he's singing from a different decade in a country way, so does, in my opinion, Wade Forster on this particular song. But I kept seeing this song on TikTok before it released when he was promoting it and other people. And there's one line that stuck out to me that kept being played over and over, and it is still my favorite line from the song. It goes, "I better father still thinks that I'm trash. I was trying to be different. I've come a long way since 19." And it's like the whole song is just him kind of reminiscing on his time with this young lady named Emily. And he's talking about it. You know, if a dollar would it would be able to take up her time, he'd give her his whole checkbook just to be able to have her around, kind of idea. And he's just thinking back on it fondly, reminiscing, and wishing he could have her in his life again. I'm a big fan of this song, from the production to the vocal to the songwriting. And that particular line that I highlighted a minute ago was the one that hooked me in right away from the TikTok video, and has been the same since I've been listening to the song preparing for this episode.
I'm conflicted because I've been listening to his voice, because that's what you pointed out when you sent the song. It's like the second line of the song. It almost sounds slurred to me, and I feel like that's putting something in my head. At first, I didn't like it. Then I'm like, it's okay. And then I'm like, I'd be curious to hear what this sounds like at a different pacing vocally. So I'm at I don't know what I think. It's all going on up here, and I can't figure it out.
You may not hear it, but do you kind of see what my point is about, like, his vocal reminds me, it's like it's from this song sounds like it's from a different era. It doesn't sound like a modern day song. The way his vocal sounds and the production techniques on this, in the same way that I point to, like I said, I hope I'm not getting the name wrong or mispronounced, but Mark Weistrich, I think is his name, from the lead singer of Midland. When you listen to a Midland song, it doesn't sound like it's from 2023 or 2025.
Yeah.
This kind of gives me the same feeling. It feels like it's from a different era.
Yeah, same as like Brett Clay Stray's Cultural Wall.
Yeah. It's a good way of putting it too, because
I see it.
Yeah, that's kind of the same idea that they have as well. But yeah, Wade Forster, he's got a new record coming out. Can't wait to hear it. I've heard a handful of his songs. I'm a fan of this guy from what I've heard so far. But and if we have any Aussies out there or any Brits out there that are listening to us, please let us know. Why is it that when you guys sing, you don't sound British or Australian? When we sing, we still sound like we're from North Carolina. I'm curious. People are asking. All right, final song.
Speaking of North Carolina, this just caught me off guard. I was watching a show. What was I watching? You ever heard of Tulsa King?
Yeah. Sylvester Stallone?
Yeah. The newest episode had American Aquarium in it.
Oh, did it? So isn't that that's a Taylor Sheridan show, I believe, though?
It is, yeah.
Yeah, so that makes sense. Because, you know, he's real ingratiated into the independent music scene and the Texas music scene, and American Aquarium is big down there. But that's cool. That's cool. There. What song was it? Do you remember?
I think it was off of Laminations. I think it was Laminations. It was off that album.
Yeah.
Or Lamentations.
Cool. Yeah. Laminations. There's a difference between Laminations and Lamentations. I didn't catch that at first. Let's laminate it. All right. Final song of the Six-Pack Song Roundup. A band that we have seen live when we interviewed Mikkel Buck. He was opening for these guys in Greenville, North Carolina. The Droptines. They have a new one that came out a couple months ago as well. I had this on a different playlist for us to do a while back, and then the show fell through. But we're doing it now, and it's called Take Too Much.
Brother, please remind me of the time we didn't have to think about dying so young. Another reason and no excuses to make more mistakes and take too much.
So, Andy, I want to get into the song content with you here in a minute. But first, let's talk about the way this song sounds, because that's what initially drew me in, even when I was trying to figure out what the song was even saying. This song sucked me in immediately sonically because it reminds me of a mix between bar band rock in the same way that some early American Aquarium records were, mixed with 70s era Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers. Just straight up rock and roll. Straight up rock and roll.
I want to hear
rock,
what this sounds
but
like.
rock and roll kind of thing.
I want to hear what this sounds like live. Their sound is really good live.
Oh yeah.
I have no idea what the song's about. I never got that far on it.
We'll
I was on the sound of it.
So what do you think about the sound? What do you think it compares to?
I don't know what it compares to. I kept picturing myself in the crowd at the show. Like trying to it's their sound translates very well, like from recorded to live.
Yes.
Not everything translates like that. Theirs does.
I bet this song rips live.
Because the way it's done, it's amplified live.
Yeah. No, I agree. Especially the guitar, lead guitar in the song. I bet that rips live.
Yeah.
This is straight ahead rock and roll in my book, and I'm here for it because I love some rock and roll. Like I said, in my mind, it's a blend of 70s era Tom Petty with some bar band rock and roll that, like you said, translates really well live. So now the song itself, I was not totally sure, and I still may have it wrong, what it was about at first because I kept re-listening to it, and re-listening to it. This is my best attempt at it. It sounds like that he met this woman. Let's say she was a bit on the easy side. He's bragging about it to his buddy, saying, she seemed kind of easy and she's coming over, but hey, don't ask why. She gets over. They're kind of like, as Kyle would say, shout out Kyle, who's not here right now. They sound like they were about to get hot and heavy. And she's like, hey, do you have some drugs? And he's like, if the lady wants drugs, I'm going to give her some drugs. And he gives her some drugs. And then she ODs and dies. And then he's sitting there in a mess because he brought this lady over that he does not really know. He gave her drugs. She OD'd. She died. And now he's calling up his buddy who was bragging about this girl at the beginning of the song saying, please bring some bleach and holy water. Because one, he feels guilty because he feels like he killed her. Two, the bleach because he's trying to clean up everything because I imagine they're trying to get rid of a body. And then that's more or less what I took from this song. And then hence the name Take Too Much. She took too much.
That is a wild story.
Yeah. I like it because it's very different. If that's what it is, that's very different.
Yeah, very.
Huh. We don't run across many songs where we're like, okay, I haven't heard this song before.
Yeah, that doesn't happen a lot.
But does that make sense to you logically? Because that's where I've settled in at.
I can go with, I don't know what it's about. I was listening. I never got past the sound of it. I never fell into it. I was just floating on it.
Because the sound killer. And then if that's what the song's about, and it feels like it is, I think it's a well-written song that it made me think, and it took me a while to kind of, because I think the reason it took me a little while was because I was sitting there and I was like, this can't be what it's about, right? And then I would tell myself, no, and I'd listen to it again. I think that's what it's about. I was like, that's different. I'm here for it. That's different. So, yeah, Droptines, Take Too Much. Moral of the story is don't bring over a woman you barely know. Never give her drugs because she might OD. Then you're going to be having to ask your buddy to bring you some bleach and holy water.
Good advice.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's 6-pack song roundup this week.
That's 5. You're missing one.
Is it? What did I miss?
The last one from the playlist.
We're a little out of practice.
Logan Ryan Band.
Oh my gosh. How could I forget that? I love that song. Let me pull that up. I'm glad you caught that because I completely forgot that song. And I hate that I forgot that song because I love this song. It's a new one from Logan Ryan Band. And by new, I mean not new at all. It's 3 years old, but it was new to us when we talked about it a while back. And I think we've only maybe talked about Logan Ryan Band one time on this podcast, but we're talking about him now. I've been diving into his music and I'm loving everything I'm hearing. Here's one called Cigarettes and Alcohol.
So stab me in the back, 'cause I kinda like the pain. Find your reasons to go, and that's your reasons to stay. And I hope you find yourself, 'cause I can't do everything. And now you dead, and I can't do anything. Well, I hope you're proud of me, 'cause I made some friends today. And as I fade away, well, I'm still here in Maine.
All right, Andy. I want you to take a crack at this one first. Cigarettes and Alcohol by Logan Ryan Band.
I'd heard this song a while back, and until today, until I read the lyrics in front of me, I don't think I got what this song was about. I'm not positive, but I'm feel pretty good about this. Is this a conversation between the narrator is speaking and also drugs are also talking? Or not, let's not go with drugs. Let's go with substance abuse.
Yeah, so I took this song as he's talking to either to himself about his ex or talking to his ex, right? And he's hurt by the situation, but at the same time, she's finally kind of like washed her hands and moved on. And he's talking about finally made some friends today. The way I heard that, the way I read that is his friends are in the form of ounces and grams in terms of drugs. So we're following one drug song with another, but it's his new friends are his help in his heartbrokenness that he is now in. The lead part of that chorus is my favorite part of the song, where he's like, "So stab me in the back because I kind of like the pain. Find your reasons to go and not your reasons to stay." It's almost like implying, I know it's better off for you to not be with me. But at the same time, it really hurts. And cigarettes and alcohol, I'll take those to my grave. But I've added Adderall and Colombian cut cocaine or whatever it was. Like, he's adding on to his vices, adding on to the substance abuse that in the wake of his love interest walking out the door, and her boots were made for walking, leaving him.
All right, I got the lyrics pulled up because I didn't catch this until this. I feel like part of this song is it's a conversation between him and his drugs, or in the sense, let me find where I was looking at. You need to find your reasons to go, not your reasons to stay. Find your reasons to quit doing drugs, because I can't do everything. I can't. The drugs is saying I can't fix your problems. I can't do everything. And now that you quit, I can't do anything. So that once you've broke your addiction, they can't do anything to you. And like at the end, it's like, I hope you're proud of me because I made a choice today. As we go our way, there's nothing left to say.
I see your point. That's an
Like
interesting read on it too.
I never picked up on any of this until, it's like, because it stabbed me in the back. I kind of like the pain. It's like, I'm aware this is bad for me.
But
I'm aware
I'm
that
so
this is
addicted, and
stabbing
I
me in
still
the
kind of
back.
like
Yeah, and it's like, find your reasons to go. Find something, to not do this. It's like, it's like where it says, like, in the shape of ounces and grams, it's like, hey, we're doing drugs. One day I'll see the light through these dark days, but right now I'm feeling good. So it's kind of like a temporary solution to the problems, and it's almost like a back and forth between substance abuse, like the narration switches.
Yeah. No, I can easily see what you're saying for sure.
I didn't get any of that until I saw it, like, words
Until
in
you
front
read the
of me.
lyrics. I think the only way we're going to be able to know this for sure, same way we had to do when we were talking about Close Encounters by Treaty Oak. We need to get Logan Ryan Band on the show so we can talk about this and get down to the bottom of our investigative reporting on this song. So if any of our artist friends out there or any of our listeners know him or have a contact with him, DM us at Cold Cans Country on social media. Country and Cold Cans on TikTok. Because I would love to be able to talk to him about this song and kind of get to see like if you're right about that, because that's an interesting take. I see what you're saying. It's this song in general is well written, and I love his voice on this as well. It's very country. And Andy, you saw the album art, right?
Yes, vaguely.
You know what that reminded me of?
Is it cigarettes and alcohol?
No, that's that's the name of it. But it reminded me of that picture when we were in college
Oh, I know
with our boots
exactly
up on
what
the
you're
table, sitting back at Big Easy, and then we put Saturday Nights above it in that very similar font.
We made this album cover before he did.
Pretty much, yeah. But doesn't that look like that picture?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
100%.
But yeah, fantastic song, fantastic band. Dive into their music if you haven't. I realize in terms of us talking about it on the show, we're a little late to the party here, but Logan Ryan Band.
I had
damn
heard
good.
it.
Well, I've heard
I'd
some of
heard
his
it.
stuff before, but it was not as in depth as I should have been. And I almost missed it again on the show. I almost went,
Get it
here's our
together.
6-pack song roundup with 5 songs.
Can't count to 6. It's a lot of numbers.
I mean, we're a little out of practice, a little rusty. It's been a little while since we've done one of these, but we are back now, and Kyle will be returning at some point. So be sure to leave us 5 stars, great review, Spotify and Apple Podcast, CarolinaCan.shop. Be able to check out the merch there. Hats and T-shirts are available. I'm Logan. This is Trucker Andy. Country and Cold Cans. See you next time.